Force is strong in my family. Force is strong in my family. My father has it. My father has it. I have it. I have it. My sister has it. My sister has it. You have that power too. You have that power too. In time, you'll learn to use it as I have.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Chewie, we're home.
My Nerd World.
As soon as I finish today's podcast, episode number 39, I got to take a shower because I just got back from a bike ride. And then I am heading out to the movie theater to see The Force Awakens. I know, shocking, right? I think this is number 9. This is the 9th viewing in the theater. This is probably going to be my last viewing of The Force Awakens in a movie theater, I think. At least that's kind of the intention at this point. We have NASCAR cranking up here starting next weekend, Super Bowl later on today. Melinda and my youngest, Kyle, are going to go out and hopefully see Kung Fu Panda 3, which is kind of enabling me to go out and see The Force Awakens. But this is kind of exciting because I'm doing the podcast. And I want to talk vehicles on today's podcast, and we'll see how far I get. I have all the movies listed here in front of me, and I've basically broken down all 7 films. I haven't even touched anything beyond the movies, whether it's Clone Wars or Rebels. But I have listed here my favorite vehicle from that particular film, and an honorable mention, and then my least favorite. And we'll see how far I get in terms of covering all of the movies in today's podcast. It is episode number 39 of the My Nerd World podcast. Again, I am your host, John Justice. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I guess I screwed up on the email last week. Well, I don't guess, I did. Because a friend of the podcast, Patrick, was quick to inform me, hey, you said the email wrong. And I'm not used to using the talkshownerd@gmail.com. What did I say? Did I say talkhost nerd? I probably said talkhost nerd, didn't I? Talkshownerd@gmail.com. That is the email address if you ever want to reach out to me. I've actually posted on Facebook today a couple of different... Well, I posted that I was going to be doing the podcast soon if anybody had any topic ideas, knowing full well that more than likely the vehicle portion discussion was going to dominate most of the podcast. But I wanted to run through what a couple of people said on here, and there are a couple of items that we can talk about briefly before I get into my favorite vehicles. And it's interesting, too, when we talk about the vehicles because, you could almost spend a podcast per week on each movie, just talking about the vehicles in the movie. And the one thing that was quickly shown to me when I was sort of doing research online for this was how rich the prequels were with different types of vehicles, and just how vast the prequels were compared to the original trilogy and to The Force Awakens. And it really points back to such a huge shift and difference in the prequels to the original trilogy. And again, I'm kind of reminded, in my opinion, that the prequels don't get a fair shake. They really did expand on the universe and enrich the universe in a way that the original trilogy didn't, and The Force Awakens didn't. And I kind of hope in Episode 8 that we move along a little bit in terms of the vehicle aesthetic. And I think they laid the groundwork for that. And whenever we get to Episode 7 of talking about vehicles, I know we touched upon it a little bit last week, but whenever we get to Episode 7 of talking about vehicles, I will certainly expand upon that a little bit more, because I think it was it was really by design that they scaled down anything new or drastically different in The Force Awakens. So before I get to starting off with the Phantom Menace coming up, let me run through a couple of the comments that are posted up here on my Facebook page. First off, Ed had posted commenting on Rebels this week. Sabine Wren's family roots in the episode 2 weeks ago. The Lasat are no longer almost extinct. Thanks to Zeb in this week's episode. And then he went on to mention, I'm still hoping to see Ventress pop back up. Her moral gray period after serving Dooku was always intriguing to me. Yeah, Rebels is really good. I have to keep reminding myself that it is a kid's show, because I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in wanting Rebels to expand the mythology more and for the episodes to go a little deeper than they do. But I think a part of that is because we're such huge Star Wars fans that we want that deep, enriching world. But the reality is, Rebels is geared towards kids, and, it's on Disney XD. And so, they have to ride this fine line of appeasing the older fans like myself and also keeping the kids happy. This last week's episode, which was focusing on Zeb and going back to his planet, bringing the Maw into canon. I won't get into that right now, but for those of you who are deep enough in the mythology, you know what I'm talking about. It's that sea of whatever black holes that they flew through there at the end. That was really cool. It was different. It was very Star Wars-y, if you will. But the episode was kind of it was a throwaway in terms of a sort of consistent thread running through it. You can almost liken it to the X-Files, which is back now, and the X-Files episodes that kept with a common theme were always the best ones. The offshoots were kind of throwaways. But because we've expanded and we have more episodes of Rebels, they have to have these types of sort of offshoot episodes more often, the same way Clone Wars did. But, for a person like me and a lot of fans, we'd rather see, the common thread, expanding the mythology, learning more about what's going on with the light and dark side and this kind of stuff. But I'm with you. I do like the background, and this season it seems as if we're getting, more background on Sabine and Zeb. I actually think Hera is probably my favorite character on Rebels, and thankfully she's getting a little bit more screen time than she had in the past. And I'm with you, Ed. I wouldn't mind seeing Ventress pop back up either. I know that the Dark Disciple, people have raved about that book, and that was essentially an extension of the Clone Wars. That was some Clone Wars episodes that didn't get made that they ended up turning into that particular novel. Also got a comment on here from the friend of the show, Dia or Daya, and I apologize either way for saying it wrong. They're in Germany. Will we get a new trailer tonight? Super Bowl is tonight, and there's been a lot of chatter about, are we going to get a Rogue One trailer? I'm going to approach this from a few different angles. First off, I'll approach it from should we get a Rogue One trailer? Yes, we absolutely should. I think Disney, in my opinion, needs to let the world know that there is another Star Wars movie on the horizon that we are, 10 months out from seeing? Essentially. And there's a whole group of people that went out and saw The Force Awakens that have no idea that there is another Star Wars movie this year. But I also think that Disney's kind of in a tough spot because, The Force Awakens is going to come out in April on Blu-ray. It's still in the theater, obviously. I'm going to go see it here in about an hour. And so I know they probably don't want to cause confusion. So should we? Yes, we should. I hope that we do. Will we? I don't know. I would have thought that we would have received some advance warning that we would be getting a Rogue One teaser or trailer. We have in every other circumstance. We knew when, working in reverse, we knew when that full trailer was coming for Monday Night Football. Working in reverse, we kind of knew that we were going to get the second teaser trailer at Celebration in April last year, and going all the way back to 2014, we knew we were going to get that teaser for The Force Awakens, in November. So I would have expected that we would have had some advance warning by now. The other part about it, too, is that, that's millions of dollars that they would have to spend to put Rogue One up in front of all those eyes. Now, again, it would be a brilliant move to do so. And I am dying to see what they have done, because we have really less at the moment than we did this sort of, we have way less. We know way less about Rogue One right now than we did about The Force Awakens. And The Force Awakens was obviously a much more anticipated film. If you were following the fandom leading into the trailers for The Force Awakens, we had concept art that leaked a long time ago. We know, apart from a couple of, a dozen or so production, behind-the-scenes production photos, and a few pieces of artwork, we really have no idea what we're in for, apart from it's supposed to be a war movie in the same sort of milieu as Saving Private Ryan. So, I think they're going to have to put something out soon. I don't think waiting until, March for Civil War, I don't think that's a good idea. And, arguably, you sort of surround it with perhaps the release of the Blu-ray, so maybe you give us a trailer now and the trailer comes out on the Blu-ray for The Force Awakens. That makes sense. I thought, like a lot of people, that we were going to get a sort of a theater release in front of the existing showings of The Force Awakens to get everybody to go back out to see The Force Awakens again, and that didn't happen. So, long story short, I don't know, man. 50-50 shot. I'm looking online. As a matter of fact, I'll go on Twitter right now. I put it up there a moment ago, and let me see. There are a lot of people that are chatting about it. But there's nothing confirmed at the moment. Let me go to my one at Manabyte, Jeremy Conrad. He's usually like the best Twitter feed to go to with anything, anything Star Wars related that comes out. He's usually even ahead of the curve of making StarWars.net, at least on his Twitter feed. And I know he was arguing, and I'm pretty sure he put up a story at Furious Fanboys this week saying that making the argument we wouldn't get a Rogue One trailer for the Super Bowl. But it's certainly, it's certainly something to watch for. I'm going to watch the game and all the commercials. I'm really looking forward to it. I got a great rest of the day lined up. I get to talk to you about Star Wars for another half hour, and then I get to go watch the movie, and then I get to watch the Super Bowl. It just means I'm going to have to work extra hard during the week this week to make up for all the laziness that I did today. The only other comment on Facebook that I wanted to add was a friend of the show also, Tara, mentioned the R2-D2 projector. And if you haven't seen this, it's really pretty cool. It's a projector. It's basically this all-encompassing sort of R2-D2 unit. Pretty big. It stands a couple feet tall, I think. And you can use it as a movie projector. It is really cool. And I don't have it up in front of me to kind of tell you all the bells and whistles on it. The only thing that I don't particularly like about it, just from a movie audio file standpoint, is that, when I watch the movies, I don't want to watch it projected unless it's HD, and it's just a DVD player as far as I could tell. So, it's cool, maybe something for like a man cave type of situation where you have like another setup or something. But in terms of watching movies on this R2-D2 projector, I probably wouldn't want it, just because it would diminish my enjoyment of that particular film, watching it on that kind of quality while it is cool. In terms of news this week, there really isn't a whole lot. The only really big stuff as it relates to the sequel trilogy is that it looks like Episode 8 is underway. We have a lot of the cast that was set to go to Pensacola for a Pensacon convention have canceled their appearances there because they're going off to film Episode 8. Some videos have been... Daisy Ridley actually posted a video of her working out for Episode 8, as did John Boyega posted an Instagram photo of him working out, and he looks like he's really beefing up for his role in 8. I mean, he just looked really, really jacked in the photo that he released. And there was some